seen Phil grow as a coach from when he first joined the program, came on your staff?
Yeah, I mean, I think just naturally developing an identity, as a coach individually, how you go about building relationships with your players, how you go about communicating. He worked with the defense at times last year, so just getting better at that. So he takes his craft very seriously, and he wants to get better in a lot of areas. So it's been fun to watch.
What did your year with Maine do for your growth as a coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it was a year where I think when you go into organizations like this, you go from Division II for me, where I was like the second assistant and I had a lot of role and responsibility, and then I came to the G League and I was just another guy, and there was a ton of smarter, better coaches ahead of me, and I got to learn from all of them. And just being in a room where you're not the smartest guy humbles you and allows you to learn, and being a part of that, really helped me, when I became a head coach later on. But I think with an organization like the Celtics, there's so many smart people. You have to learn, you have to listen, you have to grow, because everyone around you is really good.
Joe, there's a lot of talk going into the year of how to integrate like new basketball skill sets on the court with a new team. What's the process of bringing in new personalities as a coach and like making sure everybody meshes in that way, not just like on the court, but like how they are as people?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just developing relationships with them, having an understanding that everyone's unique, everyone's got strengths, weaknesses, hobbies, things that are annoying. It's just part of it. Was that the first time you got a haircut like that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And then you just blend it together. So it's not forcing it. It's having an understanding that you just meet people where they're at, and then just growing a relationship with them.
I know last night you said one thing you've learned about this group is that they've cared. Has anything surprised you? Is there anything that stood out? Like you go into a season like expecting like okay you'll get some buy-in or hoping that you will, but has anything surprised you that you maybe didn't expect from this group?
No, man. I think the most important things that you want is a competitive character and a care factor and a willingness to want to go after the process, and I think we have that, and every team has that right now, and there's obviously we have to play better, but keep maintaining this level of care factor and competitive character over the course of a long season could pay dividends. We just got to keep that up.
Joe, you guys obviously going through the process of figuring yourselves out. You got a really condensed early schedule. What were the challenges of teaching and learning while the games are so condensed, and now you have like a little bit of a break? How does that help?
There weren't really there weren't any challenges in what a regular NBA season. I mean, that's just how it goes every NBA year. So you're just constantly, what can we teach right now? Whether it's through film, through walkthrough, through practice, through shoot around. What can we teach pregame? So I mean, it's just you're constantly adapting to that. And then now with 2 practice days, we can do more stuff on the court instead of in film. So just taking advantage of those different ways that we can teach and working to execute on those.
I think statistically you guys are like 2 wins below where you should be, maybe given some of the crunch time stuff. How do you assess that? Obviously you're going through the crunch time things and trying to execute in those situations, but assessing that you've been better than your record shows so far, how do you kind of reflect on that?
Yeah, I mean, we are. I mean, you're right. I mean, there's when you get into those clutch games, there's 2 things to focus on. There's your clutch time execution on offense and defense, and then there's the 10, 15 possessions that can cost you regardless of you win or lose. And it's just focus on both of those things. And we have to be able to win close games, but it's a combination of ending quarters. It's a combination of those 10, 15 possessions that we have to get better at that are really game plan specific discipline. And then at the end of games, we have to be better at executing offensively and defensively. But yeah, that's what makes or breaks teams at times is the ability to win in those close games. But it comes down to more than just those 10 possessions. We got to be great and disciplined throughout the entire game. And especially now, like today, we talked about Grimes' heave at the end of the quarter. That end of quarter heave, now that the rule has changed, is just as important as the last play of the game because it can decide that. And so we have to guard the heaves just as well as we have to guard the last possession of the game. They're just as important. And we left Coward open in the Memphis game, but it wasn't an 8-point game, and he ended up missing it. And so people will look past that possession and focus on the last 2 minutes of a game, but guarding a heave is just as important as the last 2 possessions of the fourth quarter. And in 2 games, we didn't guard it the way we need to, and that's part of the process. So, every possession matters.
So will you focus on, those end-of-quarter situations with the team and film or whatever it may be, even though you lost in the crunch time situation?
Absolutely, because those are just as important. And in the Memphis game, we won all the end-of-quarter situations, and that helped allow us to maintain the runs and stay on those runs. But those end-of-quarter possessions and those game plan disciplines are just as important as the last 2 plays of the game.
Joe, when you said the other night, as Jack referred to, this team has a care factor, Have you had teams before that you were like, these guys don't care as much as they should? Like,
No,
how do you assess care factor?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's different for every team, and so I think sometimes that's the trouble of saying something. Sometimes is I'm not saying it at the expense of something in the past. It's just this is what this team has at this point in the season, and so like I think it's different for everyone. And to me, when you have a little bit at the beginning of the season of inexperience and developing a new identity and youth, and a little bit of what we have, it could be harder to generate that, and it hasn't been hard to generate that, and so. We haven't played perfect, but there has been a care factor to the process of like, I got to get this right. I got to get this detail right. We have to execute. I have to understand my role, and I got to execute it every single night. Like those things have come easy to the guys because of their work ethic.
Is there a certain enjoyment that comes to coaching younger guys because they don't know much, or they don't know as much as they should, as opposed to a veteran team where they're looking at you like, yeah,
I don't know if it's enjoyment. I would say fulfillment. I would say fulfillment more than enjoyment. I don't enjoy being in the position that we're in, and I don't enjoy some of that, but I'm fulfilled because at the end of the day, we know where we're at, but we know where we're trying to get to, and you're doing it with a group of guys that have a competitive care factor, which, like I said, could pay dividends on the long term. So there's a fulfillment there, but certainly not an enjoyment.
I've heard some coaches.
Along those lines with Jalen playing in every game so far, despite having the hamstring injury coming in, how much of that is him wanting to be out there for this team, and how much of that is working with the group and making sure that he can be out there? Jalen, yeah.
I mean, he's good.
No, I know. I'm just saying he wants to be out there. He's telling us that. And playing second night of back-to-back.
Oh, yeah.
Battling through everything.
Yeah, I mean, again, like he takes care of his body, he takes care of his mind. He wants to impact winning, and so he's given us, everything that he can and that he's willing to, and that's how he leads, and we need that. And he's given us a chance every night, and that's important. So yeah, I mean, it's he's healthy now, so that helps a lot. But he does a great job of taking care of himself and putting us in position to win.
Joe, when you go to events like you went to Jalen's foundation event last night, as a head coach of the Celtics, you talked a lot about it's more than just coaching the guys on the court. Like, how much pride do you take in those kinds of things, and like, what do you view your role as when it comes to guys having? I'm sure there's a million things that guys have that you have to kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to Dak's point about building relationships off the floor. Is again, it validates just kind of each individual person, the interest in what they have when it comes to basketball. It just allows you to build a relationship. But it's not just connecting with that player; it's connecting with the people of the city and the people of the community that love being a fan of the Celtics, or have a passion for the Celtic basketball, whether it's an organization, whether it's part of the city, or whether it's just fans. So I think those things are, we can do more of those because it shows the passion of the player off the court, but also builds a connection to the city and to the fans and to people who, we could work together to have a greater impact than just, winning and losing basketball games.
I've heard coaches say that having a set rotation can help players. Just knowing when your minutes are going to come, what your role is going to be, whatever. But obviously you've had a different approach this year. Is there an upside to that? What has been your approach to kind of yanking guys in and out, changing things up?
Well, I'd say there's an upside and a downside to everything. So there's an upside to having set rotations. There's also a downside. It could breed complacency. It could lose a lack of sense of urgency. It could breed entitlement. And it could breed an inability to be flexible if you go against a team or a set of games to where you have to go to something different. And so everything has an upside and a downside. Same thing with the situation that we're in. Yeah, the downside, and we're very honest, the downside could be like, hey, you might not play for 2 games. But the upside is there's a clear understanding of that doesn't change a role. That may change, playing time doesn't change a role. This is your role regardless of if it's 20 minutes a night or 2 minutes a night. And so the upside is I think you get the best of each guy, and everyone comes into the building know they have to prepare themselves to impact winning, and that every possession does matter because you may go to a guy for 2 possessions because he can guard that situation differently than what another guy can. So to me, the upsides of it are validation that every guy has important, validation of every possession matters, and the validation of there's no entitlement. You have to be able to bring it every single night. And it's a credit to the guys. I think they've bought into that and have an understanding of that. And every team is different, and I think that identity is what gives us the best chance to win over the course of it. So we got to be ready to do it.
Thanks.